Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the art house. Um, Getting set up here. Seem to be having some technical difficulties. Let's see. We got our God tier sample cards. Got a nice video going up here that we're going to talk about from the recent auction. Behind me, I have my old desk, laundry. I got my feeling hopeful in 2023. Italy's going to make qualify for the World Cup in 2026 or thereabouts, maybe. Something's missing. Here we go. Wait a minute. What is this? Boom. Now we're ready. Okay, I don't know what it is, but something about the glasses just leaves me surrounded by beautiful, iconic, god tier ladies in artwork form. So I got my COVID haircut, uncapped, ready to go. Interesting video today. There's a few things I wanted to talk about. So we had another very exciting auction. So that's why I'm running up in the corner of the screen. It's always tricky with the inverted camera. Right up here, where my left hand is pointing, we have a video I had done quite a while ago. Early days, that's why it looks like it's 1980s technology. Still trying to beef up my craft here, but this video is where I featured the first time we did the Spear of Destiny sample card auction, which is this card right here. I created that video, and I did that working with Andrea Modesti, who is the artist that has done the Spear of Destiny. You can see right here on the card, and hopefully that'll zoom. Maybe I'll move some of these others aside. There you go. Spear of Destiny. You see Andrea's name at the bottom. And he provided me all of the images. You know, I don't have the original pieces, but images, as you see in that video, of the original sketches he had done. There was a progression of sketches. He had worked back and forth with Eric to get the right type of iconic feel that was appropriate for this card, because there's a lot of rich lore and real life history behind the Spear of Destiny that makes it very fascinating. So he provided me those sketches and his watercolor progression that showed the process and led to the final product of that illustration. So that's what you see in the video there. That went to auction. It sold for, I want to say, 2000, I don't know if it was 2000 even or 2020, $2,050, something like that. Let's call it $2,000. So then once again, an opportunity emerged, and we ran an auction for the Spear of Destiny sample card, as you see shown here, being prepared for shipment for the lucky winner of that auction. And this sold for $2,625. So this is a very significant card. And why is that? Well, it's a unique rarity. It's from the pre-constructed sample deck. So we only know of 5 of those that have been shown publicly. There's been 4 that were distributed to social media, YouTube influencer types. And there was a giveaway event with Simon and Red Zone Rogue, right? And so all of those were disseminated. I think each person, you know, they kind of randomly spun a wheel and allocated those to lucky winners, and each person got 7 cards. So I believe, as I recall, that was the provenance of one of these. I ran an auction to sell that, and then privately there was another sale. It was private, so I don't want to reveal the exact amount, but it was in the same neighborhood at that time, you know. And now things are kind of picking up, leading to the alpha debut, and this auction did very well. There were 2 bidders that were significantly motivated to try to win this card, and ultimately it sold for $2,625. And it's a beautiful card. Again, I think I mentioned this in the last video, but if you go out and just YouTube Spear of Destiny, there's a lot of interesting history about the provenance of this spear and real life historic lore, or, you know, I don't know if it's factual or if it's gotten some mythological legs like the Arthurian legend has. But in any case, that's a fascinating story. I'm just going to run that little video on a loop so you can kind of see the process images and the beautiful work by Mr. Andrea Modesti. Super nice guy that I've talked to quite a bit, and has a wonderful website. Just Google Andrea Modesti. It's an old school blog style website. Andrea's kind of like an older school guy. He's not really a social media guy. He was on the Facebook group temporarily. Again, I've told this story before, and he was signed up for like a week or so, and then I was chatting with him, and I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" He's like, "Oh, good. I really enjoyed the Facebook group, but I can't log in anymore." So he lost his access. He couldn't figure out how to reinvigorate it. So he's gone. He's not on Facebook anymore. You can email him. Sometimes he takes a bit to respond, but yeah, super nice guy. It's been a pleasure speaking with him. He's been very cooperative with sharing his work. We did an interview that's on collectorarthouse.com. Very fascinating interview. Wonderful artist with a very great, unique style. Works in watercolors a lot, and that comes across in his work, and just has done a lot of beautiful scenic works for Sorcery, including some of the core fundamental site cards, Atlas site cards, and many others. I think he's done probably maybe over 20 pieces, and I believe he's working for future sets, additional commissions. So I can't wait to see what comes next. He's an awesome guy and a really great artist, so we're spoiled to have him in this game. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk about, I have a couple cards here, and I want to talk about, I'm going to put them into the screen one at a time so the camera can focus on these, but we currently have an auction running for this card here, the Aqueduct, and we ran this one before. It closed around $600 on dollars. It's an elite card. So I'm going to move the stack and just kind of feature this one. It's an elite rarity, as you can see here, right? It says, Earth guides the flow of water in one elite site. The site is both a village and a river. So it's kind of like, I would call it MTG's equivalent of a dual land. It provides both the water and earth threshold, as shown here in the card. So it's a very versatile card, and Atlas land to use if you're going to use cards from both elemental types. So that's one aspect that's super fascinating about this. The other one is that this one is quite different from the prior one we showed, and to show that, I'm going to have to pull it out of the sleeve very carefully to preserve its very nice condition. So if you look at the face side of the card, right, everything looks very clean, balanced, just like Mr. Menges's artwork. And if you go to the Sorcery Contested Realm fan page and marketplace and look, or my Collector Art House Discord, always linked in the description, please go sign up for the Discord. There's fantastic conversation in there all the time. I mirror the auctions in there, so if you hate Zuckerberg and you don't want to get on Facebook, you have that option. A lot of people are in that camp. So, to each their own. I run a bunch of Facebook groups. I know there's pros and cons to Facebook, but it's an effective platform to collaborate, coordinate with a lot of people. Almost all of the Sorcery artists are in the group, which is amazing. They chime in from time to time. They're enjoying the content. They're super excited and pumped about Sorcery. So it's a phenomenal cast of characters doing artwork for this game. And then in the Discord, if you don't want to go on Facebook, that's cool, totally understandable. I offer that alternative opportunity in the Discord to bid on these auctions, and I mirror the bids between the Discord and the Facebook, so you know what the current price is, and you have the option. And if you want to do it privately, you can message me through Facebook Messenger or through Discord private message, and I could put in a proxy bid on your behalf. So you don't have to disclose your identity. So I do consignment services for people looking to sell, so they can sell privately if they don't want to put their name out there. And also on the bidding side, if you want to bid privately, of course, that's an option. All right, so belabor the point there a bit. What I wanted to show you is on the reverse side of this card. That's where things get fascinating. You see from left to right here, there is what we call in the TCG industry a miscut. And well, there's different terminology, and there's a recent video on Vintage MTV with Tavis King from the MTG scene, who's a bit of a MTG historian. You know, I discovered some of his content recently and really impressed by his knowledge of the history of Magic, and that appeals to me as a bit of a historian of sorcery. So that's really cool. They're doing a video series about miscuts, misprints, and oddities. I think is what they're calling it, and this is one category of that. So this is actually an off-center card. To be technically correct. It's maybe a bit subjective. I mean, there's a different classification of miscut, and he talks about that in that video if you want to go look for that on YouTube. But the off-centering, you could see here that there's quite a bit of extra space margin from the edge of the card to the start of the artistic illustration on this side versus the opposite side, which is very tight and skinny, you know, and that's a function of the cut. So there's cut off center. And, you know, I talked about in the last video how sample cards themselves are a niche collectible category. There's an additional niche of card oddities, which can include misprints, miscuts, crimp cuts, discoloration, other things like this, right? So there's a whole world and realm of like a subculture that's into this, and there's Facebook groups dedicated to it in the Magic scene. I just wanted to bring this to everybody's awareness. Some people care about this. Some people don't like it because it's not going to grade a 9 or 10 or whatever. Others love it as like a niche category and consider it like another very obscure, limited, rare tier of a niche within a niche that makes it more rare. You're not going to find a lot of cards that are miscut like this. You know, take it for what it's worth. You either care about it or you don't. So that's out there now. That bid's going to close tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern time. I'm on the East Coast in the United States. Happy New Year to everybody once again. All right, so that's that card. And now for reference, bear with me a minute. I want to sleeve that back up. All right, so I'm going to put that aside. And now I got to show this from another game, Flesh and Blood, because we don't have this yet in Sorcery, right? We don't have the alpha product. We don't have mass production of a larger print of cards. There's going to be 29,000 or so boxes printed of the Sorcery Alpha Kickstarter debut release. So when that happens, there is inevitably likely to be miscuts from the printer or other errors and oddities, I guess we'll call them, right? And so I did open some Flesh and Blood early on, maybe a year or two ago, you know, kind of pre-Sorcery, before I really went all in on Sorcery. I only really care about Sorcery now, but I did open like a case or two of Arcane Rising Unlimited, which was you know, one of the earlier sets in Flesh and Blood, and I hit like an insane case. There was like all the, you know, I got the Heart of Ophidia. See, I'm out of touch. Heart of Ophidia. No, Eye of Ophidia. Completely out of touch. I apologize. So I hit that. I got the helmet thing, Arcanite skull cap. I sound like a moron. So the skull cap's like a big legendary banger hit, you know, chase hit card in the set. Command and Conquer. I got a lot of these cards and like a few of them, and hitting the eye was super rare. But anyway, what was perhaps even more interesting than that is these miscut cards, or these error print cards, whatever you want to call them, right? So they have like what is called, I talked to some guys in the industry that are really into this subculture and experts in it, and there's a Facebook group for it too. So I posted it and people were like, wow, you know, that's super rare, that's interesting, it's pretty fascinating. Started getting offers and things. And what one of the experts told me is that this is called an oil sling. So it has something to do with like the printing or ink bleed or something like that, I guess. Again, I'm not an expert in this niche per se, but I just kind of want to show you guys what to be on the lookout for when we go to mass print production. This will be pretty interesting. And if you stumble upon this, don't think it's just junk and you should throw it away. There's going to be interest in this from you know, a smaller segment of the market, but nevertheless, there will be niche interest, and these could have value, right? So, you know, you see the blue like in the frame, and these almost kind of like look like they might have been co-located on the sheet, because I hit several of these, as you can see on the frame. You could almost like piece together. This one is very subtle, you know, so it had kind of its run and then maybe corrected, or they caught it and changed the ink cartridge or whatever causes this. I'm not quite sure. So there you have like it pretty predominant there. Really a lot on the corner here. This one was very interesting because you have it on the border and then kind of smeared across the face of the card. And the rune chant, you know, is pretty highly playable and significant in the game. So that's pretty interesting. And then you have like some more minor things. You see at the top of this card, there's like what they call a crimp. You see, if you could see, it's difficult to see, but you see those kind of ridges at the top there. And then again on this one, maybe this one's a little better and easier to see. You see that kind of like ridging at the top. So those are some of the types of errors you might be likely to see in Flesh and Blood. You know, this just happens with printers. So it's uncommon. It's not all that uncommon in the industry. It probably happens across all games because it's just a function of printing, but it doesn't happen a ton, you know? So those cards are, again, more niche, but more rare. And, you know, another interesting thing that someone told me about these ones, and yeah, you can see the back here. The back, well, that's the crimp, right? Let me get rid of the crimp. All right, so let's look at the one of the oil sling cards. You know, this front one is pretty jacked up, or, you know, slingy. Has a lot of the blue on there, right? But you look at the back, and of course, it's a two-sided card, doesn't have a normal back. But let's go to a different one that has like a normal Flesh and Blood back. Some of these are the token cards. So, yeah, of course, they're all the token cards. All right, so they're dual-sided. It's not the standard Flesh and Blood back like you'd have on this one, and the card back, you know, sorcery equivalent. You have it two-sided, but the back side is completely unscathed. You know, so these oil slings are popular because you could just have this normally sleeved up, even if you have a transparent sleeve, and it's playable. It's I believe it's tournament legal because there's no indication that that is a misprint card, right? So it's actually playable, and that matters to people to play the game. And for collectability, I guess that matters in valuation. So, you know, just an interesting little thing. Same would be true for a off-center cut, I believe. You know, if the back isn't any much differently distinguishable. Here's the back of the Spear of Destiny. So that's fairly reasonably centered. No issues, right? But, you know, if those are significantly off-centered, maybe that's a problem if you can't play with opaque backs, sleeves with opaque backs. If you play with clear backs, you know, maybe it's distinguishable. I don't know. I'm not a big-time player. I'm just a collector and art fan, big-time fanboy. So, you know, the rules, I'll leave it to you guys that play the game much more. But anyway, that's what I wanted to share today. One more look at the Spear of Destiny. This is a gorgeous card. Again, just the rich real life lore of this makes it super fascinating and compelling. That's what I really love about it and resonate with it. That I think really takes it to another level. But also, obviously, the fact that it's a relic, so it could be played more universally, which makes the card more functional and playable, and therefore valuable from that perspective. And it's just, you know, it's almost like a simple artwork, but also pretty intricate and ornate. You know, I work with Severin Pinois, who did these artworks in the back here. And, you know, what's really awesome about Sorcery is that all of the artists are phenomenally talented. But they have great admiration and respect for each other. And you see that in the Facebook group. They're very encouraging of each other. They you know, splash the like button and the heart emojis and things and compliment each other on their great work. So they're fans of each other and they respect each other's art. And although each one of them, of their own merit and in their own right, are experts in their own particular style, many cannot do what their fellow peers can do. You know, it's like their own mastered skill. So, you know, circling back to Severin, why I brought that up, she had mentioned that she's a fan of Andrea Modesti, and she was like, wow, yeah, that Spear of Destiny was really fantastic. And she's like, I don't think I could do that, you know. And probably Andre would tell you the same. You know, maybe he wouldn't be able to produce this style that she does with the elemental avatars. And then, you know, there's such vast stylistic diversity in the game. That's what makes it really special and cool. It's not pigeonholed into a singular lore concept or singular consistent style. And that is a selling point. That's a good thing. That makes it very fun to collect, very collectible. So when you have a bunch of these in your binder, you know, that's going to look absolutely beautiful to collect all of those. And The sheets, frame those up, display them. They're going to be very limited and hard to get, but gorgeous. That's like a piece of art in itself, like hanging a painting, in my opinion. So yeah, a lot to look forward to. The alpha release right around the corner. There was a post from Eric today that showed a foil card, and it kind of implied that we think all of the foil sheets are now printed, which means they're probably now progressing to he said the foils, the first run of the foil print was done for the sheets. Now they have a stamping process. There's like a multi-layered process for these foils. So I think they're going to be industry defining and really innovative and transformative. So it's a multi-stage process. They're going to be beautiful, very impressive. So they're going to do the stamping, and then I don't know if there's other steps in the process. Eric mentioned he might release more details on that soon, so we anxiously await that and can't wait. And then they'll go to cutting, packing, distribution, getting it out to us. So hopefully, their target for a while has been first quarter. So a little shuffle around. First quarter, we're in first quarter, guys. It's really heating up. So we got January, February, March. That would be first quarter of the calendar year, and I'm good whenever it comes. Sooner the better. But first quarter is exciting. If it's within 3 months after a year plus wait now at this point, depending on when you heard about the game, I guess, or relative to Kickstarter, it hasn't been a full year, but it's been a while, and we're all super anxious and super excited. So can't wait to see that. Exciting times. Going to be a big 2023. I think when these are in people's hands, I mean, when you see these in person, guys, even the sample test print cards, which is what these are very special, non-foil. Imagine these in foil and then in full art with no text box on there. They're just going to be actually absolutely mind-blowing, and a incredible collectible, and just super fun to play with as well. So that's all I got for you today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please like and subscribe and share. And until next time, look forward to seeing you again. Happy New Year, everybody. Take care of yourself. Bye.